It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, I said, does anyone
Welcome in. Oh my gosh, is that sunshine? Oh, it's beautiful outside. So good to have that little orange ball out there shining, and it's going to shine for a while. Although, JMO, I saw this. I couldn't believe it. Next Friday, a week from tomorrow, you know what the high is going to be? Don't look.
I'm going to say 28 degrees.
19 degrees.
Even colder.
Colder. I think the high that day is only going to be like just above freezing or something like that.
So you traded a little bit warmer and rainy for sunshine and a lot cooler.
No, I want the sun and the cool. I mean, okay, I can't play golf either way. So let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. The Grizzlies go after 7 in a row, but they've got a giant task in front of them tonight.
Literally. No
Exactly.
pun intended.
Because it's Giannis and it's Milwaukee. We got a World Cup final, 2 giants. You get the theme here? And the news on Memphis' Tiger Giant came out yesterday. That's Malcolm Dandridge. I don't know. Is giant the right word for him? He's the biggest guy on the team.
And he's been playing really big, too.
He played really good until he got hurt against Alabama. You know, isn't that just – it's just the way it's gone for Malco. Every time he seems to have turned the corner, boom, something happens. Some sort of injury or a recurrence of an injury, you know, just amazing to me. This one turns out to be grade 2 ankle sprain. And they're saying just 1 to 2 weeks. So he's not going to play against A&M. I don't think there's really any need for him to play against Tony Madlock and Alabama State. And then will he be ready on the 29th when they open up conference play against Tyler Harris in South Florida? I don't know. I would say, you know, be great, but if you got to rest him so he comes back, he's 100% and can play like he did.
Well, and like you said, he's been playing so much better. It's really important, even through this injury. This might be overstating a little bit, but I think it's really important to get in the training room, do your physical therapy.
Doubt.
You got to make sure you stay in shape, even being out for 2 weeks.
Well,
here.
he has to because he's not been in the best shape anyway, which is part of the reason why I think his injuries plague him. And why I think those knees are so bad is he's putting more weight on than he should have on them. I'm not one to talk, obviously, but then again, I'm not a 20-year-old athlete. So, but I am saying I think if he got in better shape, the injury problems would not be quite as continual as they have been for him. I do know he's given everything he's had when he's on the floor. He's limited because he gets gassed because he's not in best shape. But man, I hope he gets better, and I hope you're right. I hope he can, if it means doing aquatic training, which, you know, they have that capability. I don't know if they have it at the Laurie Walton Center. They probably do, but I know it's available at the Tigers football indoor, where I'm sure they would let him go and work out there if that were the case. I guess, can you ride the bike when your ankle's killing you that way?
Bike might be tough.
Yeah.
And I was
you
also
certainly can't jog or walk.
Well, I was also thinking about they got those zero gravity, treadmills or whatever. I don't know exactly how they work, where they like suction in your waist and then it puts a little less pressure on whatever injured ligament you're dealing with.
I don't
so you
know
can
those.
maybe do something like that too. I'm not sure exactly. Or even if it's just stretching every day, like getting in the training room with whatever the trainer and doing your stretching exercises, working out your ankle. Free throws, whatever it might be, just staying in as good a game shape as you can be.
I hope he can do that. He clearly was hurt. I mean, he had to be helped off, and I know they took him back with crutches. And a grade 2 is serious, but it could have been a lot worse because, I really thought 6 to 8 weeks, the way it first started to play out. 1 to 2 weeks to me was a gift, and your competition is not going to be Alabama and Auburn when you're taking on A&M, and then Alabama State, well, that's a bye game, and there's a reason it's a bye game. And unfortunately, Tony, I think, has only won 2 games this year, maybe 1 game. Look up Alabama State real quick. I know A&M is 6-3.
Well, they've only won 1.
1 game.
Eastern Illinois
1-8.
neutral. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not been pretty, but he got that job because it was in terrible shape. He turned around South Carolina State last year or 2 years ago, and did a good enough job where they go, this guy can do it. Let's bring him in. I would hope that Tony, who I think is really a good coach and probably deserved better opportunities to excel than he has gotten, I hope he can really turn this one around and then get a job where you can really compete and get the financing that you deserve, the financial you deserve. I'll use a high-paid assistant coach for a long time, but the financial rewards you deserve and the ability to go into a league where you can win. And we'll see. I only hope the best for him. Boy, it was tough news for the Warriors last night, huh?
No kidding. Losing 2 guys, one under his probably own control and the other one tough injury.
Steph Curry has had an MRI. The good news for Curry is that it is on his left shoulder where the injury is. Be worse if it was the right shoulder. I have no idea how long. Is it a separated shoulder? What do they think it is?
I didn't see any news on the MRI yet. I just know that he's getting an MRI today, and they're going to kind of go from there. Steve Kerr, after the game, he hadn't even talked to the trainers yet, so we really got very limited information on that. I'll look and see what they say and keep you updated on what
And then who's the other guy that got hurt?
Well, Draymond didn't get hurt. He got ejected from the game, and so they lost 2 guys last night in a tough game, lost to the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton played unbelievable last night, so it's a tough game.
It's been a tough year for the Warriors. But then again, if they make their run in the playoffs, that's really all that is going to matter. Mississippi State made their move, and I got to confess, I really kind of like it. I don't know what they'll do offensively. That'll be up to the new head coach, who is the interim head coach for the bowl game. Not anymore, I guess. Zach Arnett got the deal. Zach Arnett is a 36-year-old. I was bragging about him right after the Tigers played Mississippi State to start the year because even last year, if you looked at the numbers on his defense, everybody always wanted to talk about the air raid and Mike Leach, and rightfully so. But Zach Arnett kind of got lost in all this. And Leach latched onto him. He came from San Diego State. And he said, basically, I got a guy that I just have total faith in. He's a young guy, but he's really good. I'm just going to give him the reins of the defense. That's what he did. Now, who will Arnett choose to do the same thing, but on the other side of the ball, and I think, incorporate the principles of Mike Leach? Because, let's face it, for the last few years, Mike Leach has been recruiting to play his offense. So I wouldn't make any kind of major moves away from that, at least not initially. And I would find a guy that has the kind of principles that's maybe another young guy to match with you, or maybe it's an old guy that's been an ex-head coach that plays that kind of offense. You think somebody like that?
Could be. Like you said, young guy, 35 years old.
I'll tell you who I'd go. If I were him, I'd go after. It's not exactly the same, but he's going to be doing the Memphis and Utah State football game, the First Responder Bowl, on XM radio. Older guy, used to have wide open offenses, former head coach. although I think he wants to still be a head coach. But what would you think about Justin Fuente being the OC?
I would like that, but like you said, at a certain point when you've been the head coach that long, maybe you're looking to continue in that role, but you would get the full reins of the offense, is about as close to being a head coach as you could be without being a head coach in this situation.
Just food for thought, interesting to think about it. But that might be the way I go, to get a former head coach to sort of guide me on some of this stuff if I'm Zach Arnett, but that has the offensive scheme that would utilize the personnel that Mike Leach had already brought in. Final thing before we talk American football, world football, the World Cup, in fact, with our friend the soccer rocker Matt O'Sullivan. But I've listened to a lot of folks, and I think they're right, that if you look at this Memphis basketball team, which is a team of unity that is fun to watch, where they know their roles, where they move the ball, and where if they need points, they give it to Kendrick Davis. And, I think we've all seen now that this is a team that certainly can get to the Sweet 16. I think Lenardi has him now as a 6 seed. And that's, to me, if you're a 6 seed, you got a chance. Anything below 6, especially 8 or 9, you're in trouble. But 6, you got a chance. And everybody's talking about how there is a flaw because you have no real shooter. And how did Penny allow this? No shooter. How could that have happened? Well, I think in this day and age, you tell me, J-Mo, if I'm wrong, you used to be an assistant college basketball coach. You've got to have 2 shooters in today's game. 2 guys that can exploit the arc. Is that fair? Or would you like more?
Certainly. At least. To spread the floor. You got to be able to spread the floor somehow.
I think 2 is adequate if you're going to be a well-rounded team. If you can find more that are really good shooters that can defend and drive, and I don't know how many of those that exist, but if you got a shooter like the kid at St. Louis, that quick, beautiful release.
Oh, the white kid. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a good player.
Yeah. And then you got a kid like Miller at Alabama. My gosh, you got it made. But you got to have 2 of those. Well, you think about when Penny was putting this team together, he thought he had 2. This is sort of where things change real quickly now in the world of NIL and everything else. But Penny thought he had Lester Quinones coming back, and Penny thought that Emmanuel Acott was coming here. And Emmanuel Acott was here all summer long.
They lost. Western Kentucky lost to Louisville yesterday.
I know. But you know what Acott's shooting?
What?
He averages 13 points a game. You know what he is shooting from three-point range? Because I looked it up today.
What is he shooting?
He's shooting 45% from three-point range.
And that could be very helpful.
Could you imagine if Memphis had gotten him with this mix? Even without Lester, it would have been much better. Oh, my gosh. But how about having Lester and Acott, which was the original plan? Now you are safe everywhere along the way. And by the way, both Lester and Acott can defend. Oh, my gosh. Now, if they had those 2 guys to go with this mix, you probably wouldn't have McCadden. You might not have Kennedy.
You might not have Kennedy. That's a big one.
But you would have Franklin for sure still.
Well, and you talked about it at the time how big it was losing Acott. He, like you just said, he can defend 3-4 positions even.
Yeah.
It's a big loss. And shoot.
But if you had those 2 guys to go, and I'll take McCadden and Kennedy out if that's the case. My gosh, this is an Elite 8 team with those 2 guys because of what they do.
Especially with how well we've seen Kendrick Davis score the basketball. You add another player like Acott that's a focal point like that. That's and as well as Malcolm Dandridge and DeAndre Williams have been playing, rebounding the basketball, playing inside. That's a good team right there.
And that is provided that both those guys accepted their roles.
Right.
The way Kennedy and McCadden have. I think they would. I mean, to me, Lester was always a team guy. So, I also think that's part of the reason why Penny sort of scooted Harris and Nolly out. Because he thought, okay, this is what I got, and it's going to be better. And I got guys that are better all-around players that will accept their role. So anyway, what if? That's not the way it was. But I just was really thinking about this last night. This is the flaw of this team is three-point shooting. It's obvious. I said even before the year that I thought that streak of 600 whatever games it is back to 2001, I thought it could be up for grabs. I did not think it would happen in Alabama, which, 0.6 seconds they saved the streak. But there's a reason that there is a flaw in this team, and it's those late departures, particularly Acott, who was here all summer and at the last second got snatched away by Western Kentucky for probably really, really good NIL money. I am sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. The Christmas sale has begun. I mean, there are some excellent deals. Pool tables, shuffleboards, saunas. Can't beat that. Now, if you're tired and sore from shopping, which many of you already are, check out the huge in-stock selection of hot tubs and massage chairs. That's a good way to renew yourself. A good massage chair. Those massage chairs, by the way, are amazing. They are really like taking a massage. The newest stuff, it is amazing. You can surprise the kids with a new arcade, game table, or play gym. All you got to do is head to I-40 and Wooden Road. The sale's on. It's Christmas time at Family Leisure. To Atlanta we go. And our friend Matt O'Sullivan, who is our eyes, ears, and everything else on the World Cup. We got a game. France, Argentina, the team you picked. Messi and Mbappe, and the French have a chance to defend the World Cup. When was the last time, Matt O'Sullivan, that a country defended their World Cup championship?
Brazil did it like 40 years ago or something.
1962, 60 years ago.
60 years ago.
Yes.
Time flies. I was listening about. I'm exhausted from watching all these games. I need one of those massage chairs.
Yes,
for sure.
Well,
maybe
maybe that'll be your payment. Because I spend so much
everybody
money
forgets,
on these.
but the World Cup started on November 20th. Okay.
Yeah.
The finals on Sunday. It runs 27 days this year because of the timing of it. Compared to normal, it's around 30. But we're heading for the tail end of it. And, everybody forgets that Argentina started their World Cup run losing to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
2-1.
I do remember that.
Upset ever in the World Cup. And France lost to Tunisia their last group game, 1-0. And the roof had fallen in. But, quality comes to the top. You got the number 3 and 4 ranked teams in the world. Brazil's out. Belgium's out. So these two are going to fight it out. And it's going to be a battle royale. I promise you. It will be a battle royale.
Well, I was listening. I think
going into overtime.
Oh, it's definitely going to OT. And they still finish this with PKs, right? It's the same format.
Same format. They play their 30 minutes, and they play all 30 minutes. It's not a golden goal.
Right.
They play all 30 minutes, and if it's still tied, then they do PKs.
I heard, I think it was Messi who said the loss to Saudi Arabia to begin with was the best thing that could have happened to the Argentinians. I thought it was because I've always thought you're the luckiest human being I know, that it was your pick that really got them going.
It could be. It could be. Some combination of those two things could be what it's all about. But it's been quite a month. And, next week, if we check in, I'll give you a little bit of background on what's going to happen in 2026. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be in the USA, it's going to be in Mexico, and it's going to be in Canada.
Are you concerned at all that there is a virus going around the French locker room? 2 French players have it?
Well, I think they checked everybody else out, and they kept them, sequestered. So, I don't really think that's going to be, they got them, they locked them down, and hopefully it doesn't impact it at all. Hopefully, everybody has everybody that they need and want for the game, and it's just a great battle.
The news about Grant Wall, I'm sure you've read him a bunch, who passed away, and I'm so grateful
Grant for years and years and years. Yeah, incredibly sad.
Yeah.
You know.
And I do want to say this because Twitter has, since Elon Musk has bought Twitter, it is, in my estimation, very entertaining, but not as trustworthy. But I was really glad that Grant's widow, who is a prominent medical doctor, she came out and said that he had an aneurysm in his heart. It was not a conspiracy from
Right.
anybody
Because he
in
wore a shirt,
Qatar.
'cause he wore a t-shirt.
Right. It was not a virus. It was not COVID. It was an aneurysm in his heart. And if he had been in Los Angeles or if he had been in his hometown, it would have happened no matter what. So I was grateful that she did say that, but he is truly going to be missed. He helped grow soccer, I think, Matto.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Especially the women's game. He really was a proponent for the women's game, and I think, and his, the fact that he became a major writer with Sports Illustrated, and was there for 20 plus years. He opened a lot of doors for a lot of soccer, themes and people and events, and and it's if you look at what's now, I mean, if the watch parties across the United States has been incredible to see him there, and every city's got him.
I know. It's this has been so much fun. Last thing, we'll talk about Berhalter in the future next week when we put a recap on this World Cup. Last thing though is the Reyna situation. We all wondered why wasn't Gio Reyna playing more. Then we find out he wasn't putting out the effort that he was. That he came in out of shape.
No, I told you there's something going on. And this is what, and how people phrase things, he said, oh, the coach told me I was going to see very limited action. Okay.
Right.
That's what started it supposedly. But if you think about it, this is what happened. Okay. They're playing a game to warm up for the World Cup against the local side, right? Okay. So Burkhalter names 11 players. At some point, he puts what he deems to be his starting 11 on the field. And it could be at the beginning. It could be during, they could play. A lot of times they do those games. They play like 20 minutes and then they break and then they do another 20 minutes. They try different formats and different formations or whatever. At some point he put what he decided was going to be his starting 11 on the field, and Gio was not in there.
Yep.
That's when it started. That's when he went over like a little, and there's a lot of different ways. It's funny. I heard Alexi Lawless speak on this, and it's funny because his reaction was the same way that mine used to be. If I got benched or I wasn't in the starting lineup because I thought I should be, I was a holy tear in practice. I didn't sulk. I got upset, and my teammates went like, "Oh shit, hey, look out! He's on a path." That's the way you address it. You don't sulk and not put out an effort, because then all you've done is put yourself in a hole. Now, I don't know why it ever came out. I don't know why Burkhalter, for whatever reason, decided that he thought this was off the record, and it should have just stayed underneath the carpet, and that's where it belonged. It's within the team structure. But now that the cat's out, I don't know.
Yeah, well, he needs to grow up and learn from it, I would have to say. My friend, as always, we appreciate it. We'll put a wrap on this thing next week. It's going to overtime. Who's the winner? You sticking with Argentina?
Argentina.
There we go. That's
Messi goes out on top, baby.
Soccer Rocker. That's Matt O'Sullivan. He is brought to you in part by the good folks from Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows it's a big decision you're making. Oh, yes. You're deciding to either renovate because you love your old house but you want the modern amenities, or maybe you want that dream house. Maybe you're looking for land. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders, has land. Maybe you've got land. You've had it in your family for years. You're just not sure how to utilize it. Oh, Ken knows. Ken learned from his dad. They've been in business for 60 years, and all they do is build incredible palaces throughout the Metroplex. All you got to do is go to kengarland.com, and if you are ready to take on the challenge, 751-1632, call Ken. He's fun to talk with, sees little details, big picture, and the thing about Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. He will work closely with you. He knows the decision and the commitment you're making. You should expect quality construction on time, on budget, and that's what you get with Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. We pause for just a second. When we come back, we talk American football. Yes, the National Football League and more with our friend Russell Copeland. He's next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Kevin Dubler here from Westwood One. Coming up on Thursday Night Football, the Seattle Seahawks host the 49ers. Last week, Brock Purdy, replacing the injured Jimmy G, led San Francisco to a dominating win over the Bucs in his first ever NFL start. Now they can solidify control of the NFC West and pick up a 7th straight win. Join me and Ryan Harris for the call on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
Hey friends, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. You're probably thinking now about what to get that wonderful lady in your life for Christmas. And if you want something special, let me give you some advice. Special gifts do not come with a cord or a plug. The best gifts come in small boxes. Make her eyes sparkle, and those gifts are our strongest point at Russell Brothers. A beautiful diamond bracelet or perhaps a pair of stunning diamond studs could make you a real hero on Christmas morning. Maybe she's dropped some hints about a gold and diamond necklace, or you want to surprise her with a magnificent ring that says, I love you. Stunning gifts of jewelry come in so many different flavors, and we've got them all just waiting for you at Russell Brothers. We've been helping Memphis shoppers for 5 decades, and we would love to help you become a part of the Russell Brothers family. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins, and remember, no cords and no plugs. Let us help you be the best Santa you can possibly be. Russell Brothers Jewelers.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion. Trust me, I know about joint pain.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher, Emmitt Smith, talks about chronic joint pain and exciting new regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics.
I know what it's like to fight through pain, but now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced, all-natural regenerative medicine that can give you lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Do you suffer with constant pain from arthritis or injury? Pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or lower back? Don't assume steroids, pain meds, and surgery are your only options. Regenerative, restorative, natural solutions are now available.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn how regenerative medicine can repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Our title sponsors, Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. That's right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78. In fact, Craft Road is the first exit in Mississippi. You know Highway 78 is Lamar. So you just go down there, turn left, and you'll find all the gang. They've been together for a long time, and they really do take care of you. We just had a little issue with a car, and, my wife called Rick Fink, and, voila. They're working on taking care of us. That's why customer retention is always so good at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's the other thing. They're always finding things to basically incentivate you. And here's the newest. Go buy a brand new Hyundai, any new Hyundai. And I think the best products on the market are Hyundais. Go get a new Hyundai right there at Homer. And don't worry about paying for 90 days. It's all the way through January, this deferred payment plan, where you pick out a new car and don't worry about paying for the next 3 months. That's when it'll all start. It's amazing. Perfect for the holidays. Go take advantage at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Our friend Russell Coleman joins us now. We're going to talk NFL, but I know your path crossed several times with Mike Leach. Zach Arnett, by the way, named to replace on a permanent basis Mike Leach. He was the Mississippi State defensive coordinator. We learned, Russell, how good he was when the Tigers played them in the first game of this year. But I know you wanted to share some thoughts on the great Mike Leach.
Definitely, Dave. It really was a sad day, and I remember sitting around on Sunday, and it came across my phone that he had been airlifted from his home in Starkville. So for me, I immediately was thinking, something of the nature of a seizure or maybe perhaps a heart attack. And then, later on they said he had a massive heart attack. So, immediately for me, my heart was going out, and I was hoping and praying for the best, but I was fearing the worst. But just talk about Mike Leach on the football field. I just really think that his innovative approach, to the game, I think it contributed to the evolution of college football. When you look at how he approached the game, when you look at 50-50, most coaches want to have 50-50 run, 50 pass, and he would go into the game where he would just throw the football all over the yard and barely running the football. And you look at his coaching tree from Lincoln Riley, USC and Oklahoma, TCU, Sonny Dykes, up at Tennessee, Josh Heupel, Dave Aranda at Baylor, and Dana Holgorsen at Houston. Those are the names that come out. Just a tremendous coach, a brilliant mind. And for me, the steps that he took to become this offensive guru, this genius, getting a law degree. He didn't even play football in college and
played rugby.
And going, rugby was his sport. And at BYU, I think what really struck his interest was when he saw back in those days, when you look at it was really running the football back in the 80s, and he looked at how BYU and the head coach Lavelle Edwards was throwing the football. I think it struck his interest, and the rest is history. But it really is a sad day, and we lost one of the brilliant minds. But we will see his offense, for eternity. We'll always see it. You see it in high school, you see it all over Texas, you see it in college week to week. So he'll definitely be missed, and my prayers really go out to his family. And the last thing, Dave, that I want to say is that sometimes success can come with a price. And I think for all of us who want to be successful and for the ones that have been great, we also have to take that time to be able to go to our doctors, to go to our physicians, and be able to get our body checked so we can still be that great person that we are.
That's a great point.
And be here for our family.
Yeah, he didn't take care of himself. He had pneumonia all season. So I think that is really accurate. Last thing on this, could you imagine, as good as your college career was, could you imagine, and I have the greatest respect for Chuck Stobart. You know that. We talked about that last week when he passed away. But could you imagine what your numbers would have been with Steve Matthews as your quarterback? You, Isaac Bruce, Matt Cody, with that scheme? Oh, my God. You would have been unstoppable.
Yeah, just not my numbers, just our program, just our team, period. And you look at what great defense that we had led by Dan Bartow and some of the other great players that we had. And you talked about Isaac, you talked about Cody, you talked about Steve Matthews, you had Tweet Martin, you had Larry Porter in the backfield. It really would have been a lot of fun to be able to play under a coach such as him or that style of offense.
All right, moving on to the NFL. News coming out, Drew Brees, who obviously was so great as a quarterback in the NFL, and then bombed out after 1 year with NBC as an analyst, which I don't think he got a fair shot, but it is what it is. He's going back. He's going to be an assistant coach with Purdue. It just came out.
Mm-hmm.
Interim assistant coach?
Just while they make a coaching change, he said.
But he's not going to be the head coach anyway.
No.
He's never been a coach. Okay, interesting. So it's interim. Thank you for that. I just saw it on Twitter real quick and didn't read it all the way through. In the meantime, we do have Thursday night football tonight. It's right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. It's the 49ers and the Seahawks. And I thought the best story of all last week, week 14, was Brock Purdy and what he did going in, taking on the greatest of all time and destroying Tampa and Brady 35-7. Now, I understand he's got some sort of an injury. He's questionable for tonight. They play Seattle. That's how we start week 15.
Well, I love this time of year, Dave, because every game that's going to be played from here until we crown the winner of the Super Bowl this year has major playoffs implications. But speaking of Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, I think he's done a tremendous job. And I think you have to look at the offense. And one thing about this offense is that it's not really constructed and built for the quarterback to have to be able to win the football games. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, you look at Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow, they have to be able to play. It's built pretty much around him. But that's the way it was built when you look at Trey Lance being starting this year and Jimmy G as well. But he has a whole lot of weapons to be able to throw the football to. But losing Deebo Samuels, I think it's going to be tough for him. Playing on the road against Seattle, really hard place to play. And you have to look at how Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks is playing. And Geno is playing terrific. I'm glad he's had a chance. I think this is the game that we may be able to see him struggle a little bit. Playing on the road, he has played really good. Kyle Shanahan is a guru. He loves quarterbacks. He gets his quarterbacks ready to play. But we haven't had the opportunity to see him being behind, playing on the road, being behind 7 points, 10 points, having to orchestrate a last-minute comeback, being able to fit the ball in windows when you're looking at the time on the clock, having a fade, having a slant. So I think this is a game that may be tough for him. I like this game. I think it'll come down to the wire. It has all the ingredients to be a defensive type of game. But I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks simply because of how the 49ers play. I love their front seven, but they play a lot of zone. And Geno is really good against the zone. He's getting his young running back. I think they'll need that running game. I think it'll be close, but give me the Seattle Seahawks.
What is the injury to Brock Purdy, by the way? And if he couldn't go, like, who's there? They'd be under their fourth quarterback.
Right. I really don't know. I saw that late. It came across.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's nothing major. But when the way the National Football League is orchestrated, if anything is bothering you, it could be you could have had cramps the day before. You have to be able to put it on the injury report. I haven't seen exactly what it is. I don't think they've listed it yet, but hopefully he can be able to go because it's really been a great success story to see Mr. Irrelevant. And now you see him playing for a team that's right there, winning their division, trying to get to the playoffs, and he's playing very well. And be honest about it, the backup quarterbacks this year have really stepped up to the plate, played good. We saw what happened out there in Dallas, and we see what Geno has been able to do. So that's really good for the National Football League.
I agree. You have been brilliant on almost everything all year long. I mean, on the money. But last week, you blew it big time. You told me Baker Mayfield is not good enough to play in the National Football League. I don't know if you worded it that strongly, but it was absolutely your meaning, however you said it. And then, he might have heard you. He said, here's to Russell Copeland. I'm going to march down the field in the greatest comeback, 13 points down, fourth quarter. Only Brady had done that a little earlier. And he put it to the Vegas Raiders when he was putting on that Los Angeles Rams uni. What do you say now?
Hey, this is what I'm going to say about Baker Mayfield. He had a tremendous game, and I think the game plan coming in, we look at Sean McVay, I think you look at the concepts that Baker Mayfield's had different offensive coordinators that really fit. But for him to come in with just a day and a half and be able to play and perform the way he did was a tremendous job. But what I am going to be able to say is that you have to play consistent. You have to do this for week in and week out. You have to do it for 17 games. And this style of play, the way he played, He was the number 1 overall pick, so we know that he can throw the football. And I will say with the Raiders, the defense that they played and how they played it, he was allowed to do what people know that he can do, and that's throw the football. You're playing safety high, you're playing man-to-man with times left. He's able to make those throws. But he has to be able to play this way consistently. If he had played up to par this way, he would still be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He would still be the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. He has the ability, but a lot comes into play, not more than just one game. You look at the greats. You talked about Tom Brady. He orchestrated a 13-point comeback with 3 minutes left, and you say, hey, is this team now ready to step to the next for the next game? Are they ready to play the type of football that Tampa Bay is capable of playing? Will this one game erase all the efficiencies that Tampa Bay has done? The answer to that question is no. The 49ers beat them 35-7. I'm happy for Baker Mayfield. I think he has the ability, but a lot more comes into play than one game. What a tremendous game, but I need to see more, and we'll be able to see how he's able to play. Can he play up to this par against the Packers, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Seahawks? We'll see. But he'll definitely get another chance because he was the number 1 overall pick, but he has not played that way consistently, and that's why he's now a backup quarterback trying to save his career for the LA Rams.
Yeah, he'll be in Green Bay Monday night, and we'll have it right here on Sports 56 and 98.5. 2 other games I want to get to really quickly, both on Sports 56. Saturday night, great game. Dolphins at Buffalo, and then another game on Sunday is the Bengals in Tampa. It's Burrow and Brady, and the Buccaneers now really are starting to fall apart. And they could end up not winning that division, even though it appears they were in control. Those are 2 great games for this week.
Starting with the Dolphins and the Bills, this right here has been a matchup that goes back to the 70s and to the 80s. I think when you look at the Dolphins, I think they're going down as well as they played the entire year. Tua Tagovailoa played tremendous. I think now you look at defenses now, they're doing some things a little bit different in their secondary. They're mixing up some coverages. I think they're confusing Tua Tagovailoa. The one thing about it, he's never played in a game where it's 30 below, and he's never won in a game where the temperature has been below 50 degrees. I think the Bills are playing. They're ready. They're rising. They're playing complementary football offensively and defensively. I really don't think this game is going to be close. Even though it's a division game, I think the Buffalo Bills are showing why they are one of the Super Bowl favorites this year. Give me the Bills in that game. And what was the other game that you were talking about, Dave?
That's the Bengals in Tampa, Burrow and Brady. That's a 3 o'clock game right here on Sports 56 and 98.5. And I'm wondering, I like the Bengals big in this game. I think the Bucs are really starting to show their age and their lack of some positions, particularly on offense.
Mm-hmm.
This could be the beginning of them starting to lose their hold on that division. And Burrow is starting to emerge as maybe one of the best 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Hey, I totally agree with you, especially when you look at how Cincinnati started off. They started off slow. They had a lot of injuries. Now they're getting healthy, and they're making that same type of run that they made last year when they finished 10-7, but they went on to the Super Bowl. As far as Tampa Bay, this season started off not good. Tom Brady had a lot of issues off the field. His offensive lineman, he lost a couple in the offseason. Then he loses his center. It's just been a lot of injuries. Julio Jones is on his last leg. He can't stay healthy. You look at their receivers, none of them have pretty much played the entire game except for the last couple of games. It's not just all on him, but when you look at a new coach coming in and you look at all of everything that has happened for him, they're just not the same team that we're accustomed to seeing. And Tom, you look at his numbers, Dave, his numbers aren't that bad as far as his numbers. But when you look at winning football games, you look at everything around him, it just haven't been able to get it done. I like Cincinnati really big in this game.
I'm with you. We are in agreement there, and we'll do this again next Thursday. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it as always.
Thank you, Dave.
That's Russell Copeland in the National Football League, brought to you by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, right now they are in the Christmas generous mode. I mean that. I've always thought they're that way, but right now, the government has raised some of the specs on air conditioning systems, and because folks got to change, prices are going to go up. So get in now. That's what Conway's telling you. Buy a new HVAC system now. Beat the price increase that's inevitably going to be occurring, and they're going to entice you with this deal. Call now, 384-3511. Get a new cooling system. And it's not just one. There's different brands that you can get. And Conway will throw in a free furnace. On top of that, they'll give you a free Nest thermostat. That's the latest and greatest. From your phone, you can control your climate in your house anywhere in the world. It's cool. And it's really neat innovation. And they're throwing it in for free as part of the deal. Again, get a new cooling system. They give you a heater. They give you a Nest thermostat. 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. We go to Baton Rouge in a minute. Our SEC historian Ron Higgins is standing by, and he comes your way right around the corner.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You don't think about a lawyer until something goes wrong. When that happens, let attorney Stephen Leffler fight for you and your family. You don't leave the house in the morning expecting an accident, but it happens every day. A car wreck, you slip and fall, or you get accused of a crime and find yourself fighting for your reputation. Stephen Leffler has been fighting for you for over 35 years. Don't do it alone. Let Stephen Leffler fight your battles for you. Call Stephen Leffler, 901-527-8830, or go to LefflerLaw.com. Here to fight for you and your loved ones.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
It's a holiday experience like no other. The Light Garden, a walk-through entertainment extravaganza with hundreds of giant 3D Christmas light displays, starting November 22nd at Olive Branch City Park. Stay tuned to Sports 56 for chances to win tickets to go see The Light Garden.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Cruising right through this chilly morning, but the sun is out. I'm so glad to see the sun. This final portion of our program is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. You know, when you want great value, but you don't want to sacrifice service, and you want to be protected, and your family needs that protection, my guy is there for you. I'm telling you. Matt Eflin and his team, that includes Andrew and Heath and Grant, they're all about getting to know you. It's collaboration. That's how they do protection for you. They will sit down, they'll get to know your family, what your needs are, what your budget is, and then protect you in the most efficient way. That's how they do it, and they've been doing it for years. So let Matt and his team sit down with you. Same thing with commercial insurance. If you have a small to mid-sized business, that's where they are experts. All you've got to do is call the Eflin number, 901-386. He's a big Memphis fan, so he goes grr for the Tigers. 901-386, that's 4777. Again, they sit down with you, get to know your product, what's important to you, and then they find the right protection for you. That's the Eflin Insurance Team. Still efforting to get a hold of our friend Ron Higgins, our SEC historian back down in Baton Rouge. I talked to him earlier this morning. He, like most of us, was really taken aback at the loss of Mike Leach, and he had many, many encounters with Mike Leach, and talked to me a little bit about that. He just thought the world of him, like we all did, and he told stories. And what a coaching tree that Mike Leach has had. When you think about all the great people from Josh Heupel, Holgerson now, really the true head of that tree would be Hal Mumme. But then right below is Leach and all the other people that he spawned. It's truly a terrific story. I don't know if you saw this, but UCLA, they got a board for all the California schools. And the two biggest involved in this board are UCLA and LA, and then in Northern California, on the other side of the bay of San Francisco, is Berkeley. It's actually bordering almost like a suburb of Oakland. And this board, kind of like the Tennessee system until Memphis got their own board, the U of M, they were under the auspices of this statewide board. The University of Tennessee in this board is their cash cow, right? Well, UCLA is the cash cow for this California board. And them leaving was going to be a huge detriment to Cal Berkeley. So when they gave permission yesterday for UCLA to leave and go to the Big Ten, which, by the way, UCLA is $67 million in debt. From being in, it's crazy, being in the Pac-12, $67 million in debt. They know their revenues from the Big Ten is going to be $70 million or more. So the decision was made by this board, okay, we'll let UCLA go do their thing, but they're going to have to pay a supplement to Cal Berkeley, like $2 to $3 million a year out of their pocket to Berkeley, particularly because the Pac-12 money is going to go down because they are losing the Southern California market. They're not only losing UCLA, but they're losing USC, which doesn't have a board. It's a private institution. It can do whatever it wants to, which it's already going. So now UCLA is going. That'll weaken the position of the Pac-12 because there's no other Southern California school that I can think of. Maybe they could get San Diego State in. That's kind of that market, but it isn't that market. It's going to hurt the media rights fees that the Pac-12 is going to get. So this is going to be the price UCLA has to pay.
And they were already in debt, the Pac-12 was, after that Pac-12 Networks venture they were in, reportedly. Yeah. Some of these schools are already $100 million in debt, so that hurts even more, you're right. Crazy.
So, it's crazy.
But the deal that the teams going to the Big 12 are getting doesn't hurt much either. They probably have a little bit left over in their pocket to disseminate to the other California schools.
You know what? Where did I see it? Oh, I saw this quote from Kevin Warren, the Big Ten commissioner, that I don't have a humongous amount of respect for, to be brutally honest. But he said what I've been saying all along, that when you talk about collegiate roulette, I guess that's the best way I can put it. When you talk about realignment as a whole, it's not a finite thing. It's not like this is the last one. So we know
we'll do it again.
UCF, Cincinnati, BYU, they're all gone. They're leaving whatever thing they were in the American or BYU's independence. I guess they were in one conference for basketball. I can't remember which one. Might have been the was it in the one with Gonzaga? Where
yes,
St. Mary's
that's
is?
exactly right.
What is that? The
WCC.
Yeah, West Coast Conference.
That's right.
That's not the last move that's going to be made. He said it, and he used the terminology I always use. that college athletics is an evolutionary process. There's going to be other openings. And I did see that Laird Veach had a Q&A with the Daily Memphian. And in that, he basically said, I haven't had any thought process that this is the end, that there's not going to be any more expansion, and that we're just aligning ourselves to be ready. And the truth is, you really want to be in a power conference for the money. But if you're looking at a sheer chance to be competitive to get into a playoff, this expanded playoff that'll start in 24, actually Memphis is positioned better this way. Because they're not going to, at least initially, they're not competing for a conference championship to get into the playoff, right? Not in the ACC or the Big 12, whichever one they could possibly get into in the long run. That's just not going to happen. But best of the group of 5, that's in the offering. That's there in 2 years.
That's the old argument in college basketball, right? Why Greg Marshall, before he was fired in shame, wouldn't want to leave Wichita State. You can win the league you're in every year. Why Mark Few doesn't want to leave Gonzaga and go to another big school. I can win this league every year, keep building up. It's the same because you go to the tournament, you get that spot every year. It's the same argument for basketball, too.
Well, you live in Spokane like Mark Few does with the kind of money he makes. What a life.
That's right.
Have you ever seen any I've seen documentaries made about him, and he always seems to do the interviews on this deck that he's got that overlooks this mountain range. I mean, he's got a beautiful, he's got it made.
It's a recruiting tool.
He's got it made. Well, and he's got a really interesting viewpoint of the way he is able to recruit, because he goes international.
He was the first one to do any of
that.
Well,
he just took the role or the philosophy that one or two predecessors had at Gonzaga, which was Canada, Australia. And he's parlayed those into getting those best players. And then now in the last couple of years, he's gotten McDonald's All-Americans. I think Holmgren, was he the very first true McDonald's All-American that they got?
Adam Morrison had to be a McDonald's All-American, but
he's
one of the first ones.
Adam
for sure.
Morrison was a great player. You look it up, but I don't think he was a McDonald's All-American, because I remember when Chet Holmgren signed early, before he even got there, they were saying he was the first true McDonald's All-American. And it's like Ole Miss, you were surprised, but Ruffin is the first McDonald's All-American Ole Miss ever got. I know you're looking.
He might. I can't find a total.
On Adam Morrison?
Jalen Suggs was the year before Holmgren, right? Or is Jalen Suggs a rookie this year?
No, Jalen Suggs was.
Same year?
No, he was the year before Holmgren.
So then Suggs was a McDonald's All-American, too.
Okay, so so maybe Suggs is the first. And then he got Holmgren. So that's probably true. Okay. But look at how long it took.
That's right.
But he was always getting these great players from Australia and Canada. And I think those guys from Australia were a little bit older. It's like the way the Tigers have DeAndre Williams. Anyway, we're sorry that you missed Ron Higgins. I'll have to check in with him. Hope he's okay. That'll do it for us. We've got picks we got to make tomorrow. I'm going all NFL. I'm not doing these early bowls.
Let's do it. Well, we still got the two carryover in.
But we're doing pick 6 NFL games because there's so many good games this week, and most of them are right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Johnny Radio is next. Have a great sunny day, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for